Good morning, Knicks Nation. Today is Friday. Happy Friday. Today is Friday, January 13th, 2023. I hope you're all safe and healthy today. And I hope that your family is also safe and healthy and that the needs of you and your family in terms of food, shelter, clothing, as well as health is being met today. Blessings upon those that work in the healthcare field, along with the first responders who are out here every day trying to save lives. Blessings also upon those that pick up garbage for us, the dirty work of keeping streets, sidewalks, highways, parkways, buildings, stairwells clean and disease free. And those also that make deliveries of food and water and mail and other such things for our convenience. Double blessings on the men and women that are out here trying to help rescue, deliver, recover the teenagers and the children that are the victims of child molestation and pedophilia. The victims also of pornography and child pornography. The victims also of prostitution and child prostitution. The victims also of human trafficking and sex slavery. Double curses on the perpetrators. Double curses on the profiteers. And double curses on the perverts that create this heinous industry. Finally, blessings on the homeless. There are nearly 600,000 men, women, and majority children that are actually living on the streets in the United States, and millions around the world in similar or worse conditions, and blessings upon them, for theirs is the kingdom. A couple of things today. First, we're going to talk about Kris Keegan. But before we talk about him, I want to talk about tonight's game. The Knicks are going to be playing the Washington Wizards tonight in Washington, D.C. This is going to be an interesting game because Kristaps Porzingis is questionable. He's questionable with bruised ribs. Daniel Gafford is day-to-day. Monte Morris is questionable because of right hamstring soreness. Johnny Davis is questionable. Not that that matters because of his hip. Vernon Carey is day-to-day with the quad. And this is the type of game that the Knicks could lose. So the Knicks have to come correct. And I'm pretty confident at this stage of the season, this is what I like about how the Knicks culture has changed, how Tom Thibodeau has them coming into camp in shape, because the Knicks injury report has nobody on it. Everybody's ready to play. And they come prepared and they come ready to fight every game, especially to me, as I mentioned multiple times, a Tom Thibodeau coach team or a defensive-oriented coach team usually starts off slow, but then they start picking up steam after the midpoint of the season, and this is where we are right now. So I'm expecting the Knicks to come hungry, to come ready, to come roaring. They're going to have their regular 9-man rotation. Now that RJ's back and Obi's back, the Knicks going to have their regular 9-man rotation going into Washington, D.C. Now, this is a difficult weekend because they have the game against the Wizards tonight. Then they have a game Sunday in Detroit. And it's a back-to-back for Monday against Toronto. So you got to be in Detroit on Sunday, and then you're going to be back in New York for Monday, and it's a matinee game on Monday, a 3 o'clock game against Toronto. So it'll be nice to get this win tonight as you're going into a mini grueling schedule. But I think the Knicks are ready for it because of, as I mentioned, they've been getting prepared the first half of the season. We got the 9-man rotation we need. I think we're going to be in good shape here. So I'm expecting the Knicks to play their game in terms of low turnovers. I'd like to see, of course, Jalen Brunson continue to do what he did the last game. Last game, there was 21 assists. Let's try to keep that going. Let's try to keep that ball moving, especially early. Let's get Quentin Grimes some touches. And let's guard the perimeter. That means Grimes, Deuce, and Mitchell Robinson. Guard that perimeter, and then you'll make Robinson's life a lot easier. And when you need him in the fourth quarter, he'll be there instead of being on the bench in foul trouble. I think Tom Thibodeau has decided, it was a couple of games ago, where he kept taking Mitch Rob out because they were getting these ticky-tack fouls. And not only that took Mitch out of rhythm. It took him out of the game and flow, and he just never got his rhythm back. And and when it happens, he comes in cold, and he's committing more fouls. So Tom said, I think we should have probably just left him in the game, and I hope they do that. We got backup with Hackenstein, but we got Sims also, and we got small ball with Julius and Obi. So we got plenty of backup. This is a game whereby if the refs step in, and this is what I'm saying. To me, they pick on Mitch Rob. But if the refs step in and start calling a lot of stupid fouls, just let him play. If he fouls out in the third quarter, he just fouls out. And we got backup. But it'd be good if the perimeter defense is strong enough to keep people out of the paint, and that will protect Mitchell Robinson from having to play guard 2 or 3 guys and get in foul trouble. Julius Randle, I'm almost spoiled. In fact, I am spoiled. I'm expecting him to come. Effort on both sides of the basketball. No arguing with the referees. Tough rebounding. Let's keep the turnovers down today. The silly passes if we can. Apparently, a good thing happened with the 6 turnovers in the last game. You say, what do you mean a good thing? Teams will attack Julius, understanding now he's prone to turn the ball over when double teamed. And then also Brunson, they'll attack him to make him give up the ball, giving him the Kyrie treatment. Now he's not Kyrie, but they're giving him that treatment. They're going to attack the ball, make him give it up, and and force him either to turn the ball over or hold it too long, which is good because that forces the Knicks to adjust. And so that means the ball has to get out of their hands, that is Randall and Brunson, quickly. And the other 3 players, or whoever has the ball, the other 4 players, have to make themselves available. They have to cut hard, and they have to get to open spots and angles where the person with the ball, whether it's Randall or Brunson, can find them. Okay? The ball has to move. This is an opportunity to make the defense work when you're moving the basketball. So with a guy like a Quentin Grimes, you want them to try to attack Quentin Grimes because he's going to let go of that ball and he's going to find your man. Julius has been excellent at that this season for the most part. But the last couple of games, especially the last game, he's been holding the ball a little too long, and that split couple of seconds costs. Okay, and with Brunson as well. So they're going to come at, that's going to be the new thing to stop the Knicks. They're going to come at Julius Randle with the double team. They're going to come at Brunson with the double team. They're going to try to seal him off, create a turnover. Especially this is in the fourth quarter, if the game is close. They're going to try to do that. So they're going to, in other words, in pro ball, they call it blitzing. They're going to blitz the 2 guys to try to force it. And I think it's good because if the Knicks, especially Randall and Brunson, if they could learn how to handle the blitz, now this would be game 43, certainly they'll be ready come playoff time. So we want that practice. Call it like a practice now. So they'll be able to do it. This is going to be good. RJ's going to be healthy. He's back. He's ready. Grimes, of course. Mitch Rob. Mobb Deep is in full effect with Emmanuel quickly back with Mobb Deep with Obi Toppin, Deuce McBride, and then Hackenstein, whatever you want to call him. And as we're ready to go. So I'm thinking the Knicks should win this game tonight, but I don't want to say they should win it easily because this is the NBA and these are the type of games. Everybody's out, they're hurt, blah, blah, blah. They come back and win. So we got to really be on our game. The Knicks got to be on their game, take care of this business, close this thing out. They're a young team. The Knicks are trying to learn how to do that. This is a good practice for them to do it and beat Washington tonight. Okay? So that's the Knicks. That's the Knicks Washington. But I really want to talk about Kris Murray today. Okay. Now, coming into this draft, the Knicks have 2 number 1 picks. They have Dallas's number 1, and they have their own number 1. Okay? They have 2 number 1 picks this year. Now, let's talk about, all right, let's start off with the draft philosophy. And I've also noticed that it's not only my philosophy, it's the Knicks' philosophy if you look at Leon Rose over the last 2 drafts. I don't believe in just picking the best player available and see if it works out. I haven't seen that work out on any team. Okay? What it usually does is cause log jams. Okay, it's what it does. Like look at the Orlando Magic right now. They got Jonathan Isaac, Mo Bamba, Bol, Pablo Banchero, okay, Wendell Carter Jr., Franz Wagner. They all play frontline positions. They're overbooked in the front line. And they drafted I'm sorry. They drafted Mo Bamba. They drafted Isaac. They drafted Paolo Banchero. They're all power forwards. Okay? They can't all play. So now they're going to trade one of them, right? They're going to trade somebody. Somebody's got to go. Okay? Mo Bamba and Bol were DNP-CDs the last game. And we have seen, I've been following Orlando. Bol's been going off, for the last like 10, 12 games. He's been playing his tail off, but he got DNP-CD the last game. So that's what happens when you just pick and say, let it work itself out. It's a wasted pick, in my view. So what you want to do, in my view, you want to pick where it fits. Okay? It doesn't have to fit exactly, especially on a team like the Knicks. So let's look at it. With the Knicks, now, some people, like for example, I'm looking at the big board on Tankathon, and I'm looking at the mock draft. They got the Knicks picking this at 20, Bryce Sensabaugh. Now that's all right. This has changed actually. Bryce Sensabaugh is good, but we'll talk about him later. And then G.G. Jackson at 22 with the Dallas pick. At 22 at this point. Yesterday I looked, they had us picking this Kel'el Ware from Oregon. The Knicks do not need to pick a 5. The only 5 in this draft, if the Knicks were going to pick one, if they were, which they're not, if they would pick one, it would be Victor Wembanyama. That would be the only one, and that's because he's a generational talent. That's it. They don't need to pick a 5. You have Mitchell Robinson, you have Jericho Sims, and you have Isaiah Hartenstein. And I put in that order on purpose. But that's who you got. Okay? And so to me, I want Sims behind Mitchell. And we could get a third center from waivers. We don't need that. We could do we got a whole bunch of options for a third center that we ain't got to waste a first round pick on. Okay? So I would not waste a first round pick on a 5. I would not also waste a first round pick on a point guard unless it was Scoot Henderson, who again is a generational talent. But let's be real about it. The Knicks at this stage, and even if not, we ain't getting the first pick and we ain't getting the second pick. And anybody that has those 2 picks ain't trading them. Y'all should know that from previous drafts. When you got a generational talent, the last time some foolish team did that was Atlanta had Luka Doncic and traded him to Dallas. Now, I like the Leprechaun's talent. The Leprechaun got talent, but he is not Luka Doncic. Okay, that was a dumb trade. Okay, or in 1984, Michael Jordan was picked like 3rd or 4th, and I couldn't believe they picked people ahead of Michael Jordan. And even then, us in New York thought it was crazy. All of us in New York at that time knew what Michael Jordan was coming out of North Carolina in 84. There was no doubt. But apparently, Portland didn't. So that's what I'm saying. You might get some dumb team, and it's rare to pass up on a generational talent. But that's the exception again. The rule is they ain't trading that pick. Okay? They ain't trading it. So we not getting Victor Wembanyama, and we not getting Scoot Henderson. So we can forget about it. Let's move on to something real. So we're going to be outside the lottery. That's outside the top 14 pick. So we got to understand the players that we're looking at is in that 15 and down range. Now, we could trade up maybe if we wanted to because we have so many picks into the lower half of the lottery. Maybe. And we'll talk about that. But the real is, if they're going to take a player, it's going to be outside the lottery. And that's no problem. Listen, we got IQ outside the lottery. We got Quentin Grimes outside the lottery. We got Mitchell Robinson outside the lottery. We got Deuce McBride outside the lottery. We got Joku Rokobitis, who we still have as a point guard. Speaking of point guard again, I would not pick a point guard. We don't need, except Scoot, and we're not getting him. So we don't need to pick a point guard. So forget point guards. Anybody comes to me and say, look at this point guard. Stop wasting our time. Okay? No point guard, no center. We don't need to look at any of them. Okay? We're not getting Victor. We're not getting Scoop. Move on. So now, what does that leave us? Wings. Every team could use wings. Now, just to finish this thought, though, the point guards we have, Jalen Brunson, Emmanuel Quickly, and Deuce McBride. Don't need nobody else. Okay? Done. But on the wing, we have R.J. Barrett, Quentin Grimes. Emmanuel Quickly plays the wing, but that's not, we all know that's not his position. Okay? So we really have Quentin Grimes. We have R.J. Barrett. Those are really the wings that we have. We had Cam, but Cam's going to be no more. So let's get over that. So really, we could use a player if we could use anybody. Now, at the 4 spot, we obviously have Julius Randle. And let me tell you, let's just make this clear. If Julius makes the All-Star team this year, which I feel he's a lock to make, there's not going to be a trade for Julius Randle. Not this year, not next summer. Okay? And if he is all NBA, you can forget it. That whole trade Julius dream is over. I'm accepting it now. I'm accepting that. And y'all know I was one that wanted to trade him. But I'm accepting what's real. And what's real is this cat is playing at all-time high level. Period. End of story. So that being the case, let's just forget the whole trade Julius scenario. It's not happening. Well, that leaves Obi Toppin. Obi Toppin is more than a competent backup 4. I feel still that he has all-star talent. But this is the thing about Obi Toppin that I have gotten just from observing him, listening to him talk, and things of that nature. Obi loves being a New York Knick. And I know that sounds obvious, but when it comes to being a Knick or getting starter level money, you know, some people say, listen, I got to get this loot. But Obi does not have a problem being a backup. And there's a couple of issues here. Obi loves playing for Tom Thibodeau. Obi and Emmanuel Quickly are best friends. Best friends. Okay? And so as long as IQ say I'll stay a backup, give me my $72 million and I'll stay in New York, Obi's staying in New York. Okay? He's not going to want to leave. And he's going to give his all and he's going to continue to develop. Obi, I knew even at Dayton, if you look at his history, he's always been a late bloomer. In everything about basketball, he's a late bloomer. He grew late. He was a little behind academically. He came on late. Everything. Matter of fact, he was a sophomore at Dayton when he was player of the year and got drafted. He was a sophomore at age like 22, 23, something like that. So he's a late bloomer, right? So that works well for the Knicks. If he was a stud, like coming out of the gate, like if he was like doing Mathurin type stuff, well, then we'd have to pay him and we'd have a problem. But he hasn't. And he's good enough, to me, talented enough that if we could keep him, we got Mobb Deep for many years. So I don't really want to look at power forwards either. But if we're going to pick somebody, and that's a if the Knicks are going to pick somebody, it would be good to pick a player that can play multiple positions, can guard multiple positions, and has the talent to push Obi, to push RJ, to push Quentin Grimes to get better. That's what you want, okay? And I feel that Kris Murray checks all those boxes. This is the thing about the Murrays, the twins. His brother, Keegan Murray. This is what every time I see him play, this comes to my mind. If Tim Duncan was 6'8" instead of 6'11" and played a more wing type position, he'd be Keegan Murray. Because that's exactly fundamentally perfect. They used to call, Shaq used to call Duncan big fundamentals because fundamentally flawless. Okay. And that's Keegan Murray. And in fact, Keegan Murray's more athletic in my view than his twin brother. That's what separates them. He's more athletic than his twin brother. More of a natural 4. Whereas Kris Murray, not quite as athletic as his brother. Highly, highly skilled. Okay, tremendous fundamentals. footwork, basketball IQ, passing ability, just boxing out. Everything that you want a guy to do as far as fundamentally sound, Kris Murray is there. Okay. Also, I like the fact that he's 22. If you look at Tankathon, everybody's either 19 or 18. So you're betting on upside with them. And I hear that. There's no problem with that. But I'd like a guy that's a little bit more mature for a Tom Thibodeau team. Okay. A little bit more mature, a little bit very fundamentally sound, has a high IQ, will pick up the pro game fast because of his IQ. Okay. I like that. And so I like Kris Murray for that. Now, as I said, his brother, to me, is Tim Duncan in the 6'8" body. I'm going to bring up something that most of y'all don't even know, but the old heads will know. And when I see Kris Murray, I keep seeing this dude. There was a dude used to play for the Knicks. He was an All-American. He was money. I'm going to give you a big hint. He was money on a 15-foot jump shot. Played for the Knicks his whole career. Okay. His name was Bill Bradley. Bill Bradley out of Princeton. Bill, that we used to call him Dollar Bill because when he come running off of that screen, his jumper was money. And so we used to call him Dollar Bill. That's Kris Murray. That's him. I'm telling you, that's him. But Dollar Bill was 6'5". Okay. Kris Murray is 6'8". So just as I said, if Tim Duncan was in a 6'8" body instead of a 6'11" body, that's Keegan Murray. If Bill Bradley was 6'8" instead of 6'5", that's Kris Murray. And so I'm very high. I see tremendous value. And that's what I'm looking at, value. You're getting more than your money's worth if you can get this kid in the first round. So they got him right now at 18 to Miami. I would try to move up to get him. Move up the 2 spots and get him. I would do that because he's that valuable to me. And my fear is, last year, if you recall, they had Benedict Mathurin. In the beginning, it was January last year. I was talking about this kid named Benedict Mathurin. And I was like, man, I really like this kid. And I like Tari Eason. Those are the first 2 I brought out. Now, Benedict Mathurin started off somewhere around 12. As we know, he moved up to 6. And Tari ended up still going at about 16. Where did he end up going? Tari Eason went at 17. So that was about where they went. And I wanted the Knicks to get him, but they didn't. Whatever. But I'm afraid. I'm concerned that Kris Murray is not going to stay at what they got him at 18. I don't know. That's the only thing I'm scared about. He could go in the lottery. To me, all of these kids, like I said, everybody ahead of him is either 19 or 18. Okay? So all of these kids, the only of all of these kids, and I'm going to be real with you, the only one that's pro ready right now is Scoot. Wembanyama, I'm telling you right now, he's got the skills to be an all-time great. I want to see him last 50 games. Okay? And he also is going to have to get used to the NBA grind of 82 games and the physicality of the NBA. Period. You're going to have to do that. And it's going to take a season or 2. I don't think he's going to come on and just change the game right away. Not with the physicality. They're going to play him. But Scoot, of all of the guys, both of the twins of the, what's them boys' name? Thompson twins. See, y'all got to also consider, the Thompson twins are very talented, but they play for the overtime elite. Come on. If they were playing NC2A ball, Division I in the Big Ten or in the Big East, SEC, something like that, okay, you would get a little bit more glimpse of what they could do. To me, overtime elite is a glorified AAU team. Okay, that's all I'm saying. So I'm not saying the boys ain't talented, but I'm going to guarantee you they're going to need some adjustment. Look at Jalen Green. Jalen Green played in the G League, and he was inefficient. In his first 2 years in the league, he's inefficient. He's still talented. I believe he's going to be a good player, but you could tell me he ain't making no big difference in the Houston team right now. Okay? So I'm not saying he ain't going to, but my point is it takes time. But only guy, to me, in this top part of the draft that could come in tomorrow and be in a rotation and put hurting on people is Scoot Henderson. That brother is ready. That's all I'm going to say. And even him will need some adjustment being a rookie in the NBA. But I feel like he will be that Mathurin type, that Jaden Ivey type that's going to come in right now and put hurting on people. You're going to know, like John Moran said, somebody better tell him about me, because he was talking to somebody he was killing. I don't know if it was Harden or somebody else, but he was killing him. He said, somebody better tell him about me. Scoot is that dude, okay? But we ain't getting him. And that's, to me, everybody else above, that's ranked above Kris Murray in this draft is going to need time. And a lot of them are going to wash out. And the reason, there's various reasons. Some of them will not hit their ceiling. Some of them will get hurt because they're young, man. Their bodies are not even fully developed yet. Some of them are not going to be as good in the NBA as we thought they might. There's going to be a lot of washouts, especially when you get a lot of guys this young. I like something that has high odds of being successful. That's Kris Murray. He's 22, very mature, intelligent young man. If you ever hear him and his brother talk, they sound like Tim Duncan. Very intelligent. Okay? And so, yes, I would like this kid. If the Knicks going to pick somebody, pick him. He may have to spend some time in the G League because the Knicks are stacked. But he may get in the rotation. There's a slight chance. And I mean, slight chance, because he will be a rookie. But I feel like Tiz would love this kid because of all of the intangibles I mentioned. The IQ. You know he's going to work really hard. He is talented. He plays within himself. Okay. So yes, 6'8", 225 pounds, averaging 22 and 10 in college. I don't see him doing that in the pros, but he's going to be a very skilled, solid piece. In fact, I would dare say he's a championship piece. You know, he's not a superstar, but he's definitely a championship piece. A guy every championship team wants on their team. Okay? So, yes, I would get this kid above all the other kids that are 19 and 18. Unless, the Knicks decide to go the development route, and that's possible. And they'll draft an 18 and 19-year-old like they did last year, and have that kid in the G League. And I was telling y'all that last year. They a lot of y'all was tripping like the Knicks, like this kid from Duke was going to like take over the world or something. And I told you, no. He's going to be in the G League, Trevor Keels, and he is. He's 18 now. He's 19. And it's still iffy because he's about a little slightly under 6'5", and it's still iffy if he's going to actually make it. See what I'm saying? So they could go the development route, and the Knicks tend to go cheap. As you can see, they go second round when they go the development route. But I really would like, if they're going to go that route, this is the draft to pick a kid in the first round. Like, this G.G. Jackson. I got to look closely at him. I did look a little bit at him and Bryce Sensabaugh. Just a little bit. I need to look at some more, though. But they're both 19 years old, 18 and 19. Bryce is a shooter, scorer, and you never know if they could do that in the league. But at 18, 19, I can guarantee you they're not going to play the first year in the Knicks. They're going to be in the G League, okay? But if they ball out in the G League and we got, future potential, great. So the Knicks could go that way, and we'll talk about that later. But right now, I'm talking about my number one on this board is Kris Murray. If we can get him, get him. He's going to help the Knicks. He's not going to make the immediate impact, but he's going to be eventually in that rotation 2 years down the road, and he's going to be a championship piece, and we'll be very happy we got him. Anyway, y'all enjoy your Friday. Shalom.